I remember being in your exact same position 6 years ago. Because actually, I think I was sitting right there. And I noticed when guest speaker came up and he was speaking to you and was for what seemed like forever. Don't worry, I'm 20 years old and I have the attention span of a fly. I'm going to keep this short.
Nice.
Growing up, people always asked me what school I would go to. And I would respond, Inter-American Magnet School. And I would get a look of, I've never seen that school before. I have no idea what you're talking about. And I would always end up responding with, well, you know Wrigley Field? It's right down the street. But that's not what made this school special. What made this school special was the community that you built. I didn't realize it until I got a little bit older, that that's something that you carried with you. It's something that made this school so much more different than a lot of the other popular schools in Chicago. It's the teachers, it's the friends, it's all the relationships that you make as you grow throughout the 10 years or 8 years that you spend here. When you have your teachers here that want to go that extra mile to make sure that every curriculum that you go through sinks in. When you have to study about the rainforest, you don't just go to chapter 9 and read about it. You build a rainforest in your classroom. When you want to study about the Aztecs, you don't just write a paper about it. You become an Aztec and you create a market in the gym and you sell all these handcrafted items. That's what set this school apart. It's teachers like Mr. Angelmas, Ms. Bruno, and Mr. Bignell that have been here that were my teachers forever. A little insight about Mr. Bignell. When I was in second grade, he still had kids that were in college coming to visit him, and now 6 years later, I'm doing the same thing. And I'm sure you'll be doing the same thing in 4 years. One of the most important things that I took from this school was being a bilingual student, speaking both Spanish and English. I'm sure at this point you've been beat over the head with how important you are because you speak Spanish, and how important it's going to be when you hit the job force and when you go to the university. I'm here to tell you it really is, because right now you're probably thinking, when am I actually going to use this whole Spanish thing? When is this thing actually going to come into play? Well, it didn't really hit me until I hit just about my junior year in high school, when I got my first job. You know, I did the same thing that all of you guys are probably going to do, which is take Spanish 1, take Spanish 2, kind of slide by, do your thing. But I had an interview with my boss, and I didn't mention that I spoke Spanish. I didn't think about it. It was just one of those things that I grew up speaking Spanish with the faculty, the family. Everybody here spoke Spanish. It was just a normal thing. And I got the job, and then a little bit later down the line, I had a customer come in who spoke only Spanish. And to me, it was a light switch. Boom. Started talking to her Spanish, got everything that she needed, and she was gone. I turned around to see my boss's jaw dropped. And I asked him, I'm like, what are you staring at me for? And he's like, you spoke Spanish? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I've been looking for somebody to speak Spanish for the last 5 months. And he was like, why didn't you tell me that you spoke Spanish in your interview? And I thought about it for a second. I said, you know what? I didn't think anything of it. I was so used to just being around everyone who spoke Spanish, and it was just a regular thing for me. But that's what I'm saying is, you don't realize it until you get there. You're not going to realize it until you get to high school, until you get to the job force, how important it really is. And I know you're kind of probably putting me into the same category as your parents and your staff and all that, but just trust me, this is one of the things you're definitely going to want to take with you. And if not that, take all the other lessons that you may have learned in this school, whether it be the community that you built up, the bonds that you shared with all of your friends. I remember at the end of 8th grade, everybody was kind of crying because they were worried they were never going to see their friends again. You guys all are going to go to high school in the same city. You'll be blocks away from each other. I still have friends that I met in pre-K that he actually picked me up from the airport yesterday. I still talk to him to this day. One thing I'm going to say is remember, no matter where you go in life, you're always going to be an Inter-American Puma. This is always going to be a building that you can call home, that you can come back to and visit. You're always going to be able to come here and see a friendly face. There's always going to be someone here to welcome you in open arms. And Isabella, I'm very proud of you and everything that you've done. I love you so much. I'm very excited. Congratulations, class of 2014.